Hello, friends. The 835th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. In the morning, the Ukrainian armed forces launched a counterattack on the village of Gleboki in the north of the Kharkiv region near Lipsy, reports a fighter with the call sign Yevhenii. According to him, Ukrainian aviation and artillery have been working since dawn. Later, he reported that the village had moved into the gray zone and fighting continued on the outskirts. The Russians are pulling up reserves to the border village of Pilna. Russian military telegram channels in the morning confirmed the attack by the Ukrainian army, but claimed that it had been repulsed. I think that we will see the results of the counterattack in the coming days. Meanwhile, in the Sumy region, the evacuation zone has been expanded to 10 kilometers from the border with Russia, the regional military administration reports. Residents of 8 more settlements must leave. Let me remind you that for a month now, the military has been warning about the threat of a Russian attack on the Sumy region due to the accumulation of troops across the border. Russian troops captured Yevhenii in the Kupiansk direction, the military telegram channel Deep State reported. Earlier, the Russian Ministry of Defense announced the same. This is confirmed by the American Institute for the Study of War. According to him, Russian troops up to a platoon advanced to the northwest of Yevhenii. The village is located southeast of Kupiansk near the highway that leads to the city. Russian military bloggers claim that Russian troops also captured several Ukrainian positions about 1.5 kilometers south of Vilshana, the institute writes. Earlier, Commander-in-Chief Zelensky reported on intensified attacks by Russians in the Kupiansk area. And near Chasiv Yar, the Russians are constantly replacing losses of equipment and people, said Nazarenko, chief of artillery reconnaissance of the 4th Rubizh Brigade. Despite the heavy losses, there is a feeling that they have an endless amount of resources and reserves, says Nazarenko. According to him, attacks with guided projectiles, which are an analog of the Western Excalibur, are increasingly taking place. They are guided by a laser. Reconnaissance drones are active. Also, the Ukrainian Defense Forces discovered that enemy units were using the pipe for covert movement along the Siversky-Donetsk-Donbas Canal. The enemy's goal is to exit the southern part of the forest to the Canal microdistrict. The Ukrainian armed forces are using mortar fire and drone drops to destroy the pipe and keep the approaches to it under fire control. In turn, Russian military telegram channels have been announcing in recent days that the Russian army is advancing in the eastern part of the city east of the Siversky-Donetsk-Donbas Canal. The Russian Ministry of Defense today announced the capture of the village of Paraskovievka. On the map of the Ukrainian resource Deep State, the eastern part of the village is marked as captured by Russia, and the rest is in the gray zone. I have already said that in this sector, the Russians' goal is to capture the village of Konstantinivka, which will create a threat to them entering the rear of the group of Ukrainian troops in the Vuhledar area. Yesterday, the national energy company Ukrenergo published a huge post saying that it does not export electricity to the European Union. According to them, a number of telegram channels disseminated information that Ukrainian electricity was allegedly being exported to Romania. This is not true. Electricity is not exported to any country and is not planned. Telegram channels manipulate information about technical flows between the energy systems of Ukraine and the European Union, which are a physical phenomenon, Ukrenergo wrote in a message. The fact is that on May 30, the acting head of the board of the national nuclear generating company Energodom, Khotin, said that there are currently 8 power units operating in Ukraine. Now we have 8 power units operating. There are no restrictions for 2 days because we have taken 2 power units out of repair, but in 2 days we have more units coming in for repairs. And then, I think, Ukrenergo will already introduce restrictions, said 30 May Khotin. According to him, the units that are planned to be taken out for repairs will be returned to work only in 2 months. And today, there was news that it will become easier with electricity, but not for long. The head of Ukrenergo, Kudrytsky, said that on the night of June 7 to 8, an additional unit at the nuclear power plant will go into operation, which will improve the situation in the energy system. We expect that on the night from Friday to Saturday an additional unit at the nuclear power plant will come into operation, and this will give a pleasant increase in the power that we have throughout the entire energy system for 2 weeks. That is, the schedules will not disappear, but will become softer throughout the entire energy system, said Kudrytsky. He also notes that with this launch of the power unit, it will be easier for the regions to comply with the limits. But this improvement will be temporary, because July is still ahead when the heat will affect the load on the energy system. And so I naturally had several questions. Where did the additional power unit come from if the acting head of the board of the National Nuclear Generating Company, which operates all 4 nuclear power plants in Ukraine, did not even mention it? And isn't the appearance of an additional power unit related to the widespread information about exports? Let me add that the fact is that electricity in Europe is more expensive. Draw your own conclusions. A few words about the charging station for which we raised money. Guys, I'm very upset. I still haven't been able to order it. I placed an order on 2 sites, but still no one has contacted me. Moreover, as is expected in Ukraine, now a station that cost 50,000 is already being sold on some sites for 100,000. I'll keep you posted and keep trying to get it at a reasonable price. Friends, this channel exists solely thanks to your support. If you have the opportunity and desire to support the channel, I will be very grateful to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.